it's Alicia. So today I'm going to be answering one of your guys' requests. So I got a DM on Instagram from Dulce Cherries saying, "Hello, I just found your YouTube channel and you seem very skilled with sewing. You also have a very similar style and interest as me, which is amazing, so I'd like to make a request. Not exactly a certain one, but maybe you can make something inspired by these. I love detail, but have no idea how to do it." So I'll be transforming two pieces and we'll show you how to add cute and vintage inspired details. And you can easily do this with something you already own at home, or you can find something at the thrift store. For the first piece, I'll be using this flowery dress that I got when I was in high school. The back is stretchy, but it isn't at the waist, so it's a bit tight on me. To fix that, I'm going to seam rib the pleats and sew it to the elastic part. I seam ribbed the pleats from the back until it was detached from the top. Stretch the elastic and sew them together. Make sure that the fabric is completely stretched as you sew. And now I can fit in it comfortably. I'm going to make the dress into a top, so I cut it at my desired length. I made sure to cut off enough fabric because I will be using it to make sleeves. I also cut off both of the waist ties. Hem the bottom of the top by folding in twice and sewing it down. Next, I decided to recreate these puffy sleeves. I used the extra fabric and laid it under the top. Trace the front and the back of the armholes to make the sleeve. I added about 1.5 inches of seam allowance to make sure to have enough fabric if you need to make any adjustments. And this is how it came out. Pin it onto the top and see how it fits. When the fit is good, copy this sleeve shape to make the second one. I'm going over all of the raw edges with an overlocking stitch to prevent fraying. If you have an overlocker, it's best to use that, but I don't own one, so I just use what I have. This is how mine looks. Sew the bottom of the sleeve to close it, and then pin the sleeve onto the armhole. Top stitch over the sleeve to keep it in place. My problem for the next sleeve is that there's a zipper in the way. If I added the sleeve, I won't be able to open the zipper completely. My solution was to sew the sleeve closed only 2/3 of the way. Like that, there's enough space to put on and take it off. Now for the end ruffle on the sleeve. Pin elastic that's the circumference of your arm to the sleeve. To create the ruffles, pull on the elastic as you sew. The next detail I want to add is this ruffle trim all around the neckline. To do this, I measured the neckline and multiplied it by 1.5. Mine was 9 inches, so the ruffle will be 13.5 inches. I did the same thing for the straps. They were 14 inches, so the ruffles are 21 inches. To make the ruffles, I'm using the waist ties I cut off earlier. I cut them into 3/4 of an inch strips, and I cut them to the length that I calculated earlier. One is 13.5 inches for the neckline, and two that are 21 inches for the straps. Sew a basting stitch on the end of the rectangles and also zigzag stitch the edges. To make the ruffles, pull on one of the threads and the fabric will start gathering. When it's ruffled enough to fit the top, pin it and sew it down. And also do the same thing for the strap ruffles. I love how the ruffles gives it that tiny touch of detail. I really like how this turned out, and I'm happy I was able to recycle this old dress that didn't even fit me anymore. The next piece I will transform is this obviously outdated light blue dress. What attracted me to this dress was the buttons going all the way down the front and that there are pockets. The number one thing that bothers me is how low the waistline is. Bringing it up will make a big difference. And also this huge lace collar and pleated sleeves will have to go. I started by cutting off the lace collar. Next, I cut off the skirt from the top so that I can adjust the waistline. I also cut off the waist tie, but I will be reattaching it later. And then I could finally cut the top to my desired length. I cut it so that the top will stop at my natural waistline. Because I need to reattach the waist ties, I need to sew the front part and back part separately. So I had to sew the two front parts and the back part all one by one. And once I finish that, there should be a little hole on both of the sides. Insert the waist tie and flip the fabric. Sew the opening closed with the waist tie sandwiched in between. Once you flip it back, the waist tie is reattached. Next, I'm going to fix these pleated shoulders and give it its more balloon-shaped sleeve. I seam ripped half of the sleeve where the pleats were, and we'll add some ruffles. As I showed in the previous DIY, to add ruffles, sew a basting stitch and pull on one of the threads. Once the sleeve fits the armhole, flip the fabric so that they are right sides together and pin it carefully. Sew it down with a straight stitch. And I'll make the top part of the sleeve have some more puff to it, which I find is a cute detail. Next, I marked where I wanted to cut the sleeves because this 3/4 length was not the most flattering. I cut it evenly on both sides and hemmed the edges with a rolled hem. To do that, you just fold it twice and sew it. I'm gonna add the same ruffled edge detail as the last DIY. Cut 2 pieces of elastic that fits comfortably around your arm. Mark the sleeve at each 1/4 point and do the same with the elastic. Align the pin so that the elastic is evenly distributed around the sleeve and sew it. Because the sleeve has a lot more fabric than the flowered top, the sleeves will be kind of an exaggerated version of the previous sleeves because they will be a lot more puffy and ruffled. I wanted to add one more touch of detail, and by looking at the pictures, a lot include some lace trim. So I decided to cut the edge of the lace collar and attach it to the neckline. Sew it on by top stitching it. This is a very easy and quick technique if you want to add some uniqueness to a top or a dress you already own. I really like how this dress turned out. I feel it gives me Cinderella vibes and looks a lot more modern and youthful than what it was previously. That's all for today's video, and thank you again Dulce Cherries for your suggestion. I hope this was helpful to you, and if any of you decide to use some of the techniques I showed in this video, make sure to tag me at Ali Jansen on Instagram so I can see your wonderful creations. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!